So now that we're done talking about rules and regs and all that stuff, again, still have the yellow sheet away. Notes are going to be totally on your own, as I was saying. If you feel that if you even remotely think, I'm not quite sure what he's talking about there, you should write it down. Okay? If you are 100% yeah, I totally know that, then that's kind of an optional to be written down part of the thing. But if there's even one little sliver of I don't know what he's talking about, you should write it down. Okay? Just saying. Okay? So today we're going to talk about algebraic expressions. Here we go. Okay? So first off, we got to talk a little bit about some properties. Okay? So let's just dive head first into some properties. So actually, let me bring that screen back, bring that shade back, and we'll just go one by one. Okay? So I do not and will not test you, quiz you, make you memorize the names of these properties. Okay? However, I do expect you to know how to use the properties. So for instance, the first property here is the commutative property. What the commutative property of addition, it's written out for you, and multiplication. What the commutative property tells you is that order doesn't matter when you're adding or when you're multiplying. The order doesn't matter. Okay? Is what the commutative property tells you. 2 plus 7 is the same as 7 plus 2. 16 times 356 is the same as 356 times 16. Okay? That's what that's saying. The next one is the associative property. The associative property says that if you've got multiple things going on there, it's kind of like a little commutative property, that it doesn't matter which order, again, you take them in. Okay? As long as you do all of the operations, you should get all of the same piece. That is associative. Oops, wrong thing. Wrong one. The next one is the identity property. The additive identity is 0, which means if you add 0, nothing. The multiplicative identity, we could do it like saying multiplicative. Multiplicative identity is 1. When you multiply by 1, nothing changes. So the identity property says that if you add the identity, nothing changes. If you multiply by the identity, nothing changes. Those are the two identity properties. Last one is the inverse property. So if you add the inverse, you should get the identity. If you multiply by the inverse of a number, you should get the multiplicative identity. Which basically means 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Or 2 times 1 half is 1. Again, don't expect you to know these blue names over here on the side. I do, however, expect you to understand those usages. Okay? Next thing I'd like to talk about is the difference between an equation and an expression. Okay? And there's one big way to tell them apart. And that's equations have equal signs. Because equations have equal signs, they can be solved. I can say x equals something if it's an equation. Or a is equal to 17 in an equation. I can say that if it's an equation. If it's an expression, I can't solve it. I just have a bunch of numbers and variables and operations and all that fun stuff, and that's all I can do, is I can just manipulate those down to its simplified form. All you can do with an expression is simplify. Okay? That's it. Okay? Now, later on today, and I think somewhere on your yellow worksheet for this week, let me see if I got one on there. Did I? I did. Numbers 3 through 5. You can evaluate an expression, meaning you can plug a specific value, a given value, into an expression and evaluate that out and get a number out. But that is not solving. That is just value. So there's some homework problems like that. This week's worksheet. Okay? Exponent powers, yeah, buddy. Okay? So remember that the exponent is in charge of what is directly in front of it. Okay? That's what the exponent is in charge of. So in the first one, side note, just so you're all aware, 3 to the 4th power is 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 9 times 9, which is 81. So 3 to the 4th power would be 81. What is negative 3 to the 4th power? Written out as in letter B. 81. Right?
No, that's negative.
That's negative 81.
I thought it was like it was an odd.
Parentheses and
This one over here is 81 because it is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. This one is negative 81 because it's negative 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Because the exponent is only controlling the 3. Okay? I got you. Negative 3 to the 3rd power. This one? Negative 27. Because it's negative, then 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. What about the other one? Now it's parentheses. Still negative 27 on this one. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's an odd exponent. Yep. Point of this line. Tap the brakes. Slow down. Think about what you do. evaluating. Here we go with these evaluating ones. Plugging and chugging. Okay. So basically what's happening here is you've got an expression, 4x squared minus 2x plus 3. Only thing that we can do with that green expression is we can simplify it. We can only combine like terms. We can only do any multiplications that we can multiply. We can only do all that stuff. Okay? And we can't do anything because we don't have any like terms to combine there. So it would stay as a simplified form, 4x squared minus 2x plus 3. That's it. That's all we can do. But then we say evaluate it when x equals 3. Then what's going to happen is now you're going to plug 3 in any spot where there was an x. Okay? And now we can evaluate. Now we can do the maths. We can chugga, 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 chew, chew the maths. Okay? So 3 squared is 9 times 4 is 36. So this first term here is 36. 2 times 3 is 6. So this is minus 6 plus 3. 36 minus 6. 30 plus 3 is 33. Okay? You try letter B. So this is 8 times negative 2 plus 2 times negative 2, then minus 9, then cube, minus 2 times, I'll put negative 2 there. Alright, so then I gotta fill in with my negative 2's. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. Alright, so 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, good. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Yes. Minus 9 is negative 13. Yes.
Yes.
Cubed is 167, right? 197? 197. So this is negative 2,197. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No. No, that doesn't seem right. No, it's not. 13, right?
I tried redoing it so many times.
13, 160. Oh yeah, that would end in 7. I was working on the ending at 7 part. Yeah. Okay? And then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, right?
Yeah.
No. Minus a negative, that's like plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's going to be negative 12 minus 2,197, which is going to be negative 2,209.
Yeah.
Negative 12 minus 2,197 is negative 2,209. Really? Because it's minus a negative, or it's because it's negative minus. Yeah. So you just add the two numbers together and put the negative sign on in front. Is that what you got? Talk to me. No, go. How did it go? Because it's minus and negative on the board. So that's really plus.
Yeah, but like the number's going up and it's 16. Yeah, so what's it go down?
Okay, so if I do these two together, if I do this one and this one together, right?
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah.
That gets me negative 12, right? Because negative 16 minus a negative 4 is negative 16 plus 4, which is negative 12. So then that gives me negative 12 minus 2197 here.
So it's basically like you're
So-
adding them.
So those two are of the same sign, so we add them together and keep the negative. Okay? PEMDAS. Let's check out your PEMDAS action. Okay? Now, do you remember what PEMDAS stands for?
Parentheses.
Parentheses,
Exponents.
exponents,
You got it.
parentheses, exponents,
Multiplication, division.
multiplication, division,
Addition, subtraction.
addition, subtraction. All right. PEMDAS me those two. So please excuse me, my dear Aunt Sally, I would do this part first, right? Because it's got parentheses. 4 minus 2 is? 4 minus 2 is? 2. Okay? Don't scare me like that. So this becomes 3 minus 2 times 5. Any E's? No exponent. Multiplication and division, do we have an M or a D? Yeah?
10.
So that's 10. So this one then becomes 10. So then this becomes 3 minus 10, which is negative 7. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. This one, we do the P first, which actually includes the E. 2 squared is 4. So we would work 4 plus 3 here first. 4 plus 3 is 7. Divide comes first, so 21 divided by 7 comes first. So that becomes 3 minus 10 also gives me negative 7. Now, this one, C, we've got an M and a D at the start. We got a multiplying and a dividing. Which one do we do first? Left to right. Yes. Left to right, not right to left. Yeah.
I got
Right.
it.
Yes.
Dude, I can-
You had your, so this one actually comes first. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then this one comes next. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 plus 12 is 15. Okay? So if there is an M and a D in the same expression, or an A and an S, you go left to right. Yep. You work it left to right. Okay? One last slide. Okay. Combining like terms. Remember that if we are combining like terms, the first thing that we have to do is we have to be simplified down as far as we can go. Meaning all of our distributives have happened, all of our exponents have happened, all of that stuff has happened first. Then, once that's done, then we can combine like terms. And so the coefficients of like terms get added or subtracted, but they have to be exactly the same. So for instance, x to the third power is not the same as x to the second power. Those are not identical. Those are not like terms. So those don't get to be added together. Okay? So I'm looking here for other cube terms, and I found one right there. So those two can be combined. So 9 minus 5 is 4. So that leaves me with 4. Now, you may be shocked at this, but it's still x cubed. Okay? See? I knew one person would do it at least. Okay? It stays, the term stays the same. Just the number of terms changes. Okay? Then I go to my next one. My next one is x squared. Oh, there's another x squared term there. 2 plus 11 is 13. So I have 13 x squared. Then I have what's left over in this case, or my next term would be just negative 4x. Okay? Now, you would be shocked at how many times on this particular problem that I've gotten 13x to the 6th power. Okay? But nothing else can be combined. Okay? On this next one, first we have to do our distribution. So this becomes 2x squared minus 2y. This one becomes negative 9x squared minus 18y. And then those can be combined to be negative 7x squared minus 20y. I can't go any further because they're not alike. Shaw.